So, in talking about my coffee research and development on stream, someone in chat recommended I try honey in my coffee instead of the more common sugar. This caught me off guard a bit. But what surprised me even more was the way that they described the honey that they used. They said it was a natural white honey and that it was hard. I have never heard of a honey like that. I thought that honey only came in yellow. We had a pretty funny exchange where we both were kind of wondering what the other was talking about. At least that's what it seemed like to me at the time. But progress demands curiosity, and despite only having the traditional yellow honey that I was familiar with, I brewed up a pot to give it a try. The coffee was sweet, but something was off. I've said in the past that I kind of live and die by Don Francisco brand coffee, but I could taste that the usual flavors were getting muddied. I usually try and stick to a medium roast as it's easier for me to manipulate into being stronger or weaker. I checked back with them, and after a few questions I found out that they drink a dark roast, which is probably why my flavor profiles weren't hitting right. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't totally disgusting, but it certainly wasn't something that I'd want to do again. And for the rest of the pot, I was back to regular sugar. I'm not done with this idea, however. I just need some time to get my hands on some dark roast. I can only really speak for myself, but to me, there are things that are so bitter that they taste salty. And that's usually why I avoid dark roast coffee, or as I like to call it, businessman coffee. Alright, so some time has passed, as you can obviously tell, but I've got my hands on the things that I need. I've acquired the proper blend for this sort of experiment, and because I don't really have a way to approximate how much honey to sugar would be around what I usually add, I'm playing it safe, and I've added only a spoonful. I find honey rather hard to use, so I added it to my cup first, and then the coffee, which is the reverse of what I usually do. When I use sugar, I'll add in the coffee, then sugar, and then I'll add in the creamer last. But I got the honey in, and once it was in, I added my coffee to the usual amount, and I also added the usual amount of creamer, and it's time to taste. Alright, so this is the hard part, because properly describing flavors and taste is complicated. The drink is sweetened to around what I'm used to, but there was a very major difference. To me, using sugar adds in its own particular flavor, the flavor of the sugar. You can taste what sugar tastes like, which is obviously sweet, but it goes alongside with the coffee itself. With honey, I don't really taste the honey's own flavor because I know what honey tastes like. The coffee is still sweet, but there's only coffee in it as far as what I'm tasting. So more of the coffee's natural flavors come through without any disruption from the honey as a sweetener like it does when I use sugar. I don't know if that really makes any sense or not, but essentially what I'm trying to say is that I'm not getting sugary coffee. I'm getting coffee that happens to taste sweet. I don't really know how to put it into words properly. But it definitely feels like a more gourmet cup that benefits a lot from the coffee that you use. If you use cheap coffee, you'll be able to taste that cheap coffee, even though it will still be sweetened. I like to think that I'm not really a coffee snob, but I understand that you get what you pay for. I used a specific cup that seals really well, so I could shake it instead of stir, because I wanted to make sure that the honey incorporated all the way into the drink, and it wouldn't get sweeter towards the bottom. This for the most part really worked, but I was still left with a sticky residue at the bottom of my cup that was a bit of a pain in the butt to clean. Because of the messy nature of honey, I can't see myself switching to this all the time. But the idea of there being people out there who will exclusively use honey in their coffee doesn't really sound crazy to me anymore. I do imagine that you want to have quality honey and quality coffee. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too much rambling. Again, I'm not really sure the best words to use to describe the honey coffee experience, but overall, I would say that it was pretty good. I was a little bit skeptical of it at first, obviously, because it was something that I'm really not familiar with, and nobody else that I know has ever really done it. But yeah, it definitely is something that I could see being popular. And if I get unique blends of coffee from other countries or something like really unique and special, I think I'll probably use honey to sweeten that instead of sugar, just because of how little interference the honey adds to it. But anyway, I've gone on enough about it. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching. I will see you all later.